What's up, everybody? Fresh Out interview going down. I know it's been a minute out here in Sacktown, kicking it with the homie Nate. Nate, why don't you go ahead and fill the people in a little bit about where you're from and, what
Nate Dogg, from Del Paso Heights, California. I represent life now, but, it was a point where I was a Del Paso Heights blood, and that's me. That's where I'm from. Been in Sacramento since I was 2 years old. The Heights the whole time. Moved around a little bit because you know how it is with low-income families. But other than that, ever since I've been repping anything, it's been the Heights.
And what, growing up, man, what was it like growing up in the Heights, when you were living out there?
I grew up in the 80s, so growing up in the Heights was like, the start of the cocaine era and, gangbanging really kicking it up north. It was like a baby war zone. Between that and in the South Side, it was like real active. But it was like, as a little one, it was like that's all we saw out in the streets was, if it wasn't flashy cars and drug dealers, it was fights and shootings and stabbings, and that's all you see. That's all we seen in the environment. You know what I mean? And I'm coming from a single mother home. That's where I'm hanging out at. So that's really all I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Because mom's is ducked off doing whatever she doing. So, growing up in the hood, to me, I look back at it now and it seemed normal, but then once my mind evolved enough to understand what was going on, it was crazy. Yeah. It was crazy.
And what was your first run-in with the law? What was your first incident with the popos?
My first incident with the popos, I was 12 and a half years old, and I was walking with my white friend. Names don't need to be mentioned, but we was walking in a main street in the neighborhood, and my neighborhood borders like basically a racist white neighborhood. You know what I mean? Called Real Linda. Mm-hmm. And basically some Real Linda cats had smashed up on us. I'm like 12 and a half, not even 13 yet. And they jump out and ask my homeboy, what are you doing walking with this nigger? And my homeboy like, that's my partner, what you mean? So the white dude slapped my partner. And I had a 22 on me. And
12 years old?
Yeah, 12 and a half, yeah. And that was my first case because I popped him like 3 times in his chest.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just pulling, and luckily it jammed at 3 because I just pointed and started yanking. And not even realizing like the life or death implications that it had. I just knew that it was gonna, my 12-year-old mind told me this is gonna stop this grown man from hurting my little friend.
Yeah.
And that's what because I'm not trying to think like, or put it out there like I had this killer instinct back. Nah, I was scared to death. Okay. But I knew I had to stop this big dude from hurting my friend. Yeah. So I yanked a couple times. He fell. We ran. I'm scared to death, crying, all this stuff. And he ended up telling on me.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And I mean, now that I look at it as a grown man, he's a 12-year-old kid. His mom asked him what happened. He told his mom what happened. Yeah. So, I don't know if I would have did the same thing because I was a little different at 12 and a half, but it was what it was, and I seen him as an adult, and I hold no animosity for him towards it. But yeah, they charged me with assault with a deadly weapon back then, and sent me to the boys' ranch. No, to girls' school.
Okay, I remember that. So what was the incident that actually led to you being locked up this last time when you
My long joke.
Your long joke, yeah.
My long joke. Well, in 1996. I was, out there in the streets, gangbanging, selling drugs, whatever I had to do to, make money in my mind at the time. And an individual told me basically that he wasn't gonna pay me. And now, at the time, dude happened to be a Crip. And as I said before, I was a blood at the time. So I was trying to deal with dude on the business level. Okay. Like I wasn't even tripping on the gang stuff. It was like I was trying to get this money and move forward past this because I was getting older. So I'm in a whole nother state. I tell dude, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna need that money. And he like, well, when you see me, I have it. So I'm like, okay. So I go to his house and I wait. And he pull up and he like, I don't got your money right now. But you got fresh kicks on, brand new whip that you didn't have when I left. Everything fresh, blunt in your ear, beer in your hand, all this stuff. And I'm like, so when am I gonna get paid? You're gonna get paid when I feel like paying you. Is that right? So I maul him out right there in front of the apartments. I beat him up. I beat him up right there in front of the apartments, and he run upstairs, and somebody said, "Nate, he got a gun." So when I hear that, I whip out. I had strap on me the whole time, but I was just gonna beat him up and then come back later and get my money. I wasn't trying to do nothing dangerous. So I run up the stairs, but as soon as I walk in the door to the apartments, he's like within hand's distance of me. So I don't have time to yank, so I slap him with the pistol. And when I slap him with the pistol, he fall. So I'm like, okay, I ain't got to yank, so I just start whooping him with the pistol. And I basically crushed his whole face in, and they arrested me for attempted murder. They said I was trying to kill him. Even though I never yanked, I never did nothing, I just hit him with the gun a bunch of times. I mean, a bunch of times that he went into a coma, but I felt like at the time it was either me or you. You know what I mean? And that's what they arrested me for. You know what I mean? And of course he testified and he got on the stand, this gangster, you know what I mean? This supposedly gangster, you know what I mean? Got on the stand and pointed me out and gang banged on me all in the courtroom. Yeah, cuz did it right there and whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm like, okay. And so basically they was like, we're gonna give you 68 to life. And of course, as you know, and mostly people that are watching this know, I went and told my lawyer, go find out what kind of deal they gonna give me.
Yeah.
And because once I heard that 68 to life, I'm like, I'm not doing no elbow.
Exactly.
So they came back with 15, and I took the deal, but, you know, while I was in the county waiting, okay, I gotta rewind a little bit, I'm sure you'll cut it. While I was on the run for doing what I did to him, I caught like 8 more felonies. Oh, shit. Like, cause I knew I was in a run. I thought he was dead. When he was in the coma, I thought he was dead. So I was just on. So I was like, everybody who owed me money better have my money or it's problems. So then I caught a couple armed robberies and a couple carjackings and there's one dude that owed me money. I ended up carjacking him and he testified too. But while I was in the county going to take the deal for this scoop, he was in the cage across from me. And when they brought us out the cages to go back up to the floors in Sac County, they put us in the same elevator, not knowing.
Oh, shit.
But they uncuff us down in booking to put us in the elevator.
Yeah.
And there's only one guard in a full elevator. So as soon as the elevator started moving, I rushed him in the elevator and stomp him out in the elevator, whatever. And then the guard sprays the whole elevator. And then the other dudes that are in there with me, I done already whispered like, whoop, whoop, that's the dude that's snitching on me.
Yeah. So
they helped me pack him out. So they end up recharging me, adding me another charge, committing violence to a witness in means to dissuade him from testifying or something like that. But they just added that on top of my other stuff, and I added that, and it ended up being an 18-year deal.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
So once you found out that you were looking at 18 to life, I mean, or actually 18, what was going through your mind, man? What was like some of the thoughts you had?
Well, okay, so like I said, my first case was 12 and a half, right? And I'm not trying to play like, you know, time ain't nothing, because of course time is something. But from the time I was 12 and a half to the time I was 21, which is the time I caught this case, that big case, I'd never been out longer than 90 days to 4 months. Oh, consistently. Like I had never been out from that time to the time I caught that case. I'd never, altogether, I probably couldn't put together a full year, maybe.
So you have been in and out of jail?
Yeah, back and forth after that first time.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when I got the time, it was like, honestly, I looked at it like, it's the lesser of two evils. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta go do all this damn time. But it wasn't like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? It was, I felt like it was the natural progression of how my life had been going anyway. You know what I mean? From juvenile to the girls' school to boys' ranch to group homes to, you know what I mean? I've never been in foster care, and then, you know, it's always been because of crimes. And when they said 18, I'm like, you know, only thing I wanted to do is say, you know, I didn't feel like I was going to be, a lot of the people that I love were going to be alive when I came home. So I just called everybody and was like, just come visit me before I leave, because I don't want y'all all coming to visit me in prison. So just come see me. And that was the most disappointing thing at that time was my auntie and my mom and my grandma having to say goodbye to them because they were my backbone.
Yeah, your support.
Yeah, because there wasn't really a lot of dudes in my family. It was mostly women. Still now, you know what I mean? I'm like the strongest male in the family. But so I said goodbye to them, and I was just like, in my mindset, once I said goodbye to my mom and my aunt, that raised me half of my life, my mindset was like, let's rock. Like, let's go. I mean, it's like, you know, like the how people say you either all in or you all out.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I put it in my head like, there ain't nothing I can do about this. This is already done. So I might as well go do it.
Yeah.
And go do it right. According to, you know, what OGs had told me, and you know what I mean? Because I talked to OGs in the county jail and told them about what they was finna do to me, and they were like, this is how you gotta do it. If you wanna do it right, this is how you need to do it. And so I was ready.
Where'd they send you as far as for your time?
Well, of course, I went to reception first, but I opened High Desert.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened High Desert. And just for those who don't know, High Desert State Prison is in Susanville, California, way up in the mountains. Yeah, I mean,
So these all state facilities?
Yes, all state, all state. I never did nothing but state, nothing but level 4 time, which is the most maximum security level you can go to as far as mainlines is concerned.
Okay.
And I mean, the SHU is like closed custody, closed. What is it? Closed custody. No, there's no security. It's super max.
Okay.
Is the SHU, of course, you know about the SHU.
Yeah.
But SHU is just all the way locked down. As far as movement and all that, level 4 is the worst it gets. And High Desert at the time was one of the worst ones you can go to. Like, it was one of the two worst. It was like 3 worst prisons in the state of California: Calipatria, High Desert, and Pelican Bay. And they sent me as a youngster, first term, first prison, first main line was High Desert.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, I had already had it in my mind that it's cracking. So, I mean, first of all, in Tracy I got into it. I went to the hole in Tracy.
Okay.
You know, on some wanting to make, in my mindset it was I want to make a mark. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that, now that I look at it now, it's like I want to make sure everybody knows, don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me. If you fuck with me, this is what's going to happen. Other than that, just let me do my time and leave me the fuck alone. But if it comes to my time, I'm going to raise my hand every time and go do it to keep motherfuckers from wanting to fuck with me. I mean, so if it was time to go, I'll do it, or I'll not do it. Let me go sit in the hole for a little while and then I'll be back.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked. I got no scars from prison other than my tattoos. I've never been busted on. I've never been jumped. Well, I got jumped one time by some Crips, but that was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? But they sent me to High Desert, and I racked in High Desert from 97 to 2000 when they kicked me out. And they kicked me out. I don't know if you want to go that far into it, but they kicked me out because I had to raise my hand on something, and I had to go bust on somebody, child molester, and you know.
For those who don't know, those are the chomos we be talking about on Prison Talk. You got a wig split.
Yeah. Volunteer happily. You know, not that I condone hurting other people anymore, but I still feel like chomos should get it every chance they get. You know what I mean? Child molesters and rapists are the worst pieces of shit in the world.
The lowest of the low.
Yeah, and to me, period. You know what I mean? But prison, even more so. You know, and then he happened to be from my neighborhood as well. So it was like, I hurry up and raise my hand. And they was like, well, we gonna sit? Nope, I don't want no help. I don't need no help. He's gonna get in my way. I got it. And you know, I stabbed him like 7 times in his face and his neck. And they sent me to the SHU. You know what I mean? For a year. And I did that, you know, and they sent me to corporate SHU when they were still doing the green wall shit. When they was cracking doors with the Mexicans.
Yeah, setting up
fights. And they tried that with me one time, you know what I mean? It didn't work out for them, so they didn't do it no more. You know what I mean? They tried it and my celly didn't come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then they sent 2 90-pound Mexicans to try to jump on me. At the time, I'm 210 pounds and I'm working out every day doing burpees every fucking day. Yeah. So it's like, really? What y'all gonna do with me? You know what I mean? So one of them got slept and the other one ran. So that was quick.
Yeah.
But my whole term was just a consistent circle of the same shit. It's like, I go to the hole, I get out, I kick back for a second to see how the yard is, I find out who's foul in the yard, if they from Sacramento, and I just take them down. Yeah. You know, not necessarily stabbing everybody, because I only got arrested for stabbing people twice in prison, but anything else other than I didn't have no problem fighting. You know what I mean? That was kind of like a bad part on my point, is because I would raise my hand, well, he just want to fade? Okay, yeah, I'll do it. And like when I first got there, the dude who I pistol whipped, his homeboys wanted fades back to back. So I was fading them like in High Desert, like I was fading somebody like every couple days at first. Yeah. Like, oh, he want to line up with you. And you know how it is, if a cat call you on a fade, especially another gang member, It's like, you got to take that.
Yeah, you ain't backing down from that.
Nah, and you know, I ain't lose none of them, but I got tired of that shit. You know what I mean? But it's just a consistent circle. You know how it goes, man. It's like infinity. Nothing changes on level 4s, and it's like a little ass circle. You know what I mean? A little circle. You can't go nowhere and ain't no sneaking, ain't no ducking out and thinking you're gonna pop back in. Don't go to the other side and think you're gonna slide back in, because we're gonna find out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the other side, SNY or PC, whatever they want to call it, I've had to get on people for trying to do that. Like, come on, you know kites come from other prisons. It's a small world. We know you ducked out. Mm-hmm.
Damn, yeah. So it's level 4, man. A lot of people who don't understand that, like, level 4, like he said, is like one of the highest levels, and it's like I'd probably be the equivalent to like a federal USP, but in the state it's jumping off a lot harder, and you know, you go through a lot of shit, and it's, you know, it's just you got to hold your own. What would you say, Nate, was one of the craziest things you've seen while you were up in there, man? Because I know you witnessed a lot of shit. You was up in a whole different environment than I was in, and you know, a lot of people, especially a lot of our overseas viewers, you know, they have a lot of questions about, like, you know, American prisons.
Oh, the craziest move I saw, to me, I seen some shit that was crazier, but by that time I was desensitized. Because the craziest thing I saw was before I started seeing a whole bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So it made a big impact on me. And you know what a rotunda is? So like when you're walking the chow, you come out of a section and the door will be like over there.
Okay.
And then there'll be guards walking above you right here with glass, plexiglass or whatever, right? And you walk, and you got to walk through this like a cattle run.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the chow hall's at the end, but they release a whole section at one time. So you got 32 cells on top, 32 cells on bottom, double man in each cell at 64, 128 people popped at one time. So that's crazy how those numbers are still in my head. Because we have to, you remember, we used to have to do head counts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of how many of each race was out or whatever. Yeah. But we coming out, and my boy, I'm in high desert. I'm like 21, not even 22 yet. I'm still the youngest. My boy like, watch out. I'm like, what's up? He's like, just step over here. And I see a Mexican come with a braided up, like a twisted up sheet, a big boy. And he come and he throw the sheet over another dude's head and around his neck. And then I seen the big guy like pull the dude up on his shoulder with his neck, and the other guy's facing that way.
Oh, so he reversed?
Yes. And then 2 Mexicans came and started busting on him. And basically when he let him go, it was over already. Damn. So, and that was like I was like, and then the craziest part about it is, as he dropped, they didn't see nothing because they're watching the section and they're watching the chow hall.
They didn't see who did it.
They're not watching the middle.
Yeah.
So we all start walking, and people are just like, and my boy's like, just act like you don't see that shit, man. Yeah. We walking by this dude. This dude is done already. He's dead. And we just go in the chow hall. They don't realize it until they're getting ready to go pop the doors for child release. And one of the officers walked and he seen somebody laying there in a puddle of his own blood. And that was a game changer. That's when I was like, okay, it's real life. It's real life. Wow. And that's not even the worst of what I seen. That was just it left the most impact.
Because you were still like,
I was fresh. I mean, I've been to juvenile facilities. I've been county a bunch of times, the branch where people fight. Yeah, like I seen one of your videos, the lock in the sock. You know, that's the most shit that would happen. Yeah. Would be somebody get busted in their head with a lock. But then when Cass started dealing with bangers, I'm like, and then I find out that everybody has one on them. I'm like, it's like mandatory yard release. You got a banger on you.
Yeah. So at a level 4, a lot of people are like, everybody's strapped.
At certain ones, yeah. At high desert, yeah. Yeah. Because it ain't no fighting. It ain't no fighting because everything is pretty much racial. Okay. So, like, if you was to go out there and get in a fight with another black, the blacks would be tripping on you like, why? We need our numbers. Exactly. We don't need you trying to get into a fight with another homie. Let that shit slide. How can we fix this?
So in the state, is it a lot more? Because like in the feds, I know it's funny, man, because sometimes dudes from like California be like, oh, that dude, they from New York, so we ain't, they be on some bit in the state. Would you say it's more, it's more racially motivated?
Most of the time, yes. Predominantly, yeah. Predominantly, it's not about where you from. It's who you with. Okay. You know what I mean? If you black and you in a cell in prison, y'all short. You know what I mean? So you gotta be a tight knit group. It don't matter if you Crip, Blood, Bay Area, Sacramento. If it crack with the blacks, and don't get it wrong, there be little incidents that go on between the blacks. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But as far as in general, if one crack, they all crack, and you got to.
Yeah.
You got to, and it's more politically like that. Like the whites rock with the whites, the blacks, the Asians, whoever. And if you're not rocking with your kind, then you looked at it as a piece of shit.
Wow.
And if you was active at any point and they get found out, you're gonna get removed.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people too. Like you try to slide in, and it's funny. You was talking about like the kites. Like I've seen dudes on the yard, and they'll be chilling,
Yep.
and then somebody will show up. Oh man, that
Yep.
homeboy ran at the last rock. Oh,
Yep.
that right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't tell what?
Yeah, that's
And
a violation.
Immediately
Off
gone,
top, yeah.
Immediately.
You stomped out off top.
Yeah,
It ain't even nothing to talk about.
that's crazy, man.
Like, and I was gonna bring, cause I got like I guess in storage. I got my box I sent home, like before I was finna ready to parole with all my paperwork, and because no matter where you go to level 4, I still got it. It says add seg paper. It's an envelope, a manila envelope says add seg paperwork on it. And because when you go to the hole, which add seg is administrative segregation for for the viewers, that's if you put it in street terms, add seg in prison. If the main line is society, add seg is the county jail, and the shoe is prison. If you try to relate it to society way of looking at it.
Social,
Yeah, so the main line would be like you out here rocking, doing your thing. County jail is ad seg, and then prison would be the shoe term, because that's where you go and sit down for a while.
Exactly.
But I lost my train of thought. I got distracted. So when you go to ad seg, you gotta have your work. You gotta have your 154, which is a lockup order. And before you come out to that yard with the blacks, you better have sent that to somebody on your tier.
So they know exactly.
Or you better what you in there for.
Exactly.
Yeah, why you in the hole? And nobody goes from the cages, which is where you go before you get put into a cell. Nobody goes from the cages to your cell without a lockup order.
Oh, wow.
If you go without a lockup order, there's something going on. There's something fishy. You shouldn't have let them take you out the cage. My last incident, I sat in the cage from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock the next morning. Like almost 24 hours, because they were bullshitting on giving me my lockup order.
But you gotta have that paperwork.
Yeah, you gotta have your work. I still got the envelope in my storage unit. You know what I mean? With my whole box of paperwork, with all my 115s and my paperwork and work I got on cats, and that I won't never share it, but I kept it because you never know what line I might have hit. People don't throw that away.
Yeah.
But
man, so doing time in the state, man, is a whole nother ball game. And when you're seeing that much just violence and just like just people just living in chaos, how do you prepare yourself mentally to ever go back into society? What do you do to prepare yourself to eventually be released, man? I mean, you did what, 18, 17?
17 years.
I mean, fuck, man.
17
What do you
years.
do mentally to, at what point did you start even thinking about preparing yourself to be released again?
Well, like I had an anger management coach, and like I still deal with her to this day, and she's asked me that question too. Not just that question, but how did I stay sane, basically? And my thing is like the first 10 years, I felt like in my mind I wasn't going home. The way my mindset was, I'm not going home. And I was maxing out time. You get that good time. I was maxing all that out, so I wasn't worried about none of that because I felt like I wasn't going to get out anyway. So, but then once I started seeing that day getting closer, and I'm getting pictures of my 4-year-old daughter going to high school dances and stuff like that, it was like, okay, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. So what I did is I started backing up from the gang banging. You know what I mean? I was still from my city, of course, there's no going away from that. But here's the thing. And then I started studying Islam. Well, first I started studying all the religions because that's what I'm a studier. I want to learn about everything, and then I'll make a conscious decision after I study everything. And I felt like Islam was the best route for me to take because in my mind, because everything I seen, I'm by nature, I can be an aggressive person. So I didn't want to be affiliated or associated with anything that was looked at as soft. You know what I mean? And some people look at Islam and they think Muslims are soft, but they don't really know. You know, they have to study. So I started studying Islam, and I saw that I didn't have to be like looked at as a piece of crap in order to back up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I could back up and still be with the shit. You know what I mean? Because I backed up from gangbanging, went out and had a meeting with the homies. And remember, this is after 10 years of super activities. Mm-hmm. Like every time something came up, I'm raising my hand. So now my name ring at every fore I go to. As soon as I hit the yard, I'm care packaged up. I'm everything. Like, oh, Nate Dogg here. Nate Dogg here. Okay, whoop, whoop, whoop. Y'all know y'all better get in line because you know bruh gonna be tripping. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you from Sac and you doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, you might want to stop. Because if blood find out, it's gonna be a problem. Because the first time I went to Folsom, that happened. But, so, I just started telling myself, I don't have to be a gang member to be active. And active, basically, when you hear somebody in state time saying active, that means you're on the main line, you're ready to be with the shit, whatever. Mm-hmm. You active. You know what I mean? You got actives and you got dropouts. Never gonna be a dropout, never was a dropout. I stopped gangbanging, but I'm not a dropout. You know what I mean? I stopped gangbanging, but I stayed on the line. Mm-hmm. And, but I never turned down nothing, even after that. And I just slowly started to, like I took a job that I wasn't on the yard all the time. Because at first, I wanted to be on the yard all the time. On the bars. If something cracked off, I didn't want one of my homeboys to get caught up in some shit. And I wasn't there to help him. Mm-hmm. And even if it could be you, big fella. And I'd still be like, okay, I'm finna walk with the homie right now because he got an issue with this cat over here. And if it crack off, I wouldn't be there to help him. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I was known for. But the closer I got, I just started then I started communicating with the family more, you know, because for most of the time I only talked to one person, and that was my little sister. That was it. I didn't want no communication with the streets because I didn't want to think about what I was missing. Mm-hmm. I didn't want that to distract me from the mission. And the mission was to survive this. You know what I mean? I can't be distracted and holding back on the way my mindset was working if I'm thinking about what's going on out there. So basically, to me, everything out there was null. It didn't matter. All that mattered was my little sister. As long as she was okay, I was good. And of course, I should have been thinking about my kids too, but I had to do what I had to do to survive what I was going through. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I can't really put it into words how I acclimated back. Because, and another thing that I had to learn was I can't prepare myself for something I don't know what it's gonna be like. So honestly, the best preparation I could have done to come home was to just tell myself I can't prepare to go home. Mm-hmm. I just have to get there and figure it out from there.
Almost like reverse psychology.
Yeah, and just have a plan. And what I did is I had a plan of what I wanted to do when I got out. You know what I mean? Because I heard so many people, and I listened. Like I said before, when I talked about religion, I studied shit. So I'm studying ex-cons. I'm not just ex-cons, I'm studying repeat cons and cats that keep coming back and these OGs. And yeah, the recidivism rate is crazy. So I seen one dude named Decent come back like 5 times in different prisons.
Wow.
I'm hitting the prison, you on the yard. Didn't I just see you parole?
Wow.
Like 5 times. And I'm like, okay. So what I'm telling myself is I had a journal. I still got the same journal right now. And I made a list of stuff I plan to do when I get out. Now, it wasn't direct. It was in general things. Like, it wasn't, oh, I have to go get a job driving trucks. No, it was, I have to get a job. Period. Mm-hmm. That's it. No matter what job it was, I was going to take it. I didn't care. As long as it gave me a paycheck. Get a car. Have a place to live. I already had a place to live, but that was on my list. Place to live. And luckily, I had somebody when I got out, so I had somewhere to go, and my family's huge out here, so it wasn't like I was starting from scratch. I was starting from scratch, but not homeless from scratch. But
where you parole from? What prison?
I paroled from New Folsom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, what after doing all that time, when you were released, I mean, how to feel? What was the first thing you did or wanted to do?
The
when you got
first
out?
thing I wanted to do, honestly, was I wanted to try this hamburger from Jack in the Box that I had seen a commercial from, right? I swear. No, it was from Carl's Jr. But it was the $6 jalapeno cheeseburger. And the crazy thing is they weren't selling it no more when I got there. But So what I did is I got a cheeseburger and I got a Monster energy drink because I had seen so many commercials and but they didn't sell those in the vending machines in the visiting room. So I got a Monster energy drink and a burger, and I didn't get a mile away from the prison. I didn't even get all the way back into the city of Sacramento before I had to tell the female I was dealing with pull over because I had to throw up.
Okay. Your burger, man. What what were some of the things that once you did get out, as far as you found the hardest to to deal with, as far as getting a job, building a relationship with your family? I mean, how did you deal with all that stuff?
Okay, so the hardest thing first was people. Groups of people was too much for me at first. Like, I would just go to work and go home at first. I didn't want to be around people. I really didn't want to be around groups. And I always had to sit with my back to something. Like, I had to be able to see everything.
Yeah.
Like, everything that was going on. And I was jumpy at first. Like, I'd hear a noise and I automatically, now I get it once in a while, depending on how tired I am. But back when I first came home, there couldn't be no loud noises, and I'd be like, like automatic ready to react or get down or, whatever. And it's like a shell shock kind of situation. But as far as jobs, I had it in my mind that I was going to get a job and work, and I did. That, to me, it seemed like that was simple. I mean, yeah, they might have started out menial and grew from there, and I got a pretty good job now. But the job part was nothing. The family part, okay, you know what left for dead is.
Yeah.
I felt like my whole family left me for dead when I caught my time. But when I was doing all the stuff I was doing, and it doesn't really matter what I was doing, but I was doing pretty good for myself. You know what I mean? In the drug game. Mm-hmm. And everybody in my family ate. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody ate, everybody lived, everybody was shining like they were the ones doing all the stuff I was doing.
They benefited.
But off of me.
Okay.
But then when I went to prison, it seems like everybody died off. Like, immediately. Like, as soon as they found out I had the time, I can probably count on one hand how many people came to visit me in prison. In 17 plus years. 17 and some change. One hand, I can count on how many people. Now, I had a lot of visits, but it's still only from one hand of people.
Yeah.
Like my mom, I give it to her because she didn't like seeing me in there, but she made sure she came and see me every birthday. You know what I mean? So I can respect that. But there were people that I thought I was super close with, and nothing at all. And then when I got out, try to communicate. It's like,
really?
I'm like, hey, you know what? I was all right the last 17 and a half without you. I'm gonna go ahead and keep rocking without you. I'm good. I'm cool. And I just had my daughter not that long ago, and I'm on Facebook, so like a lot of people been like, oh, congratulations, and it started to irritate me. I started to feel the feeling come back, So I went on there and did a little Facebook Live, a little get down on there, like, hey, look, if I ain't been dealing with you in the last 2-3 years, and everybody don't know where I was at, on Facebook. Okay. So I say, if I ain't been dealing with you in the last 2 or 3 years, and the people who know who I'm talking about know what I'm talking about, don't call me. Don't try to message me about my daughter. She ain't got nothing to do with you. Just stay out of my life. I'm good. Everything I got since I've been home, I did for myself. Nobody helped me do shit. I mean, not to, excuse my language, but ain't nobody helped me do nothing. I ain't asked nobody for no hand, because you know how it is in there.
Yeah.
I've so instilled in me that I don't want nobody to do shit for me because I don't want to owe nobody nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Somebody's the worst thing you can be in prison.
In prison, it's the worst thing you can do. So after doing that for 17 years, just automatically in my mental, I don't want nobody doing shit for me. I don't want nobody doing nothing for me. If I can't do it for myself, I don't need it. You know what I mean? I don't want it. So I'll take the slow route, and I'll get to it when I get to it. You know what I mean? I already know how the fast route go. I did that already. And I seen how that led for me with nothing. I didn't even have clothes when I got out. You know what I mean? But I got an older brother that's the same build, and he basically emptied his whole closet out like, here.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Gave me a car, here. You need a car, here. You can have this one. Here's all these clothes. Here you go, some cash. And I understand why he didn't deal with me while I was in prison. You know, because I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand his reasoning. And I'm not going to put it out there, but I'll put it out to you off camera later. But he had a reason, and I understand it. Because the path he chose in life didn't add up with it. You know what I mean? We was on two different sides.
And as far as like, you know, and congratulations on your daughter, man.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, it's a miracle.
What is the what are your day-to-day life now, man? I mean, fuck, man, that's I mean, you've been out how long now?
June 6/8. So 6/8, June 8th, it'll be 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
no bumps.
That's great.
No violations. No even stern talking tos from parole officers. You know what I mean? No, why weren't you doing this or why? I did everything that they wanted me to do before they even asked me to do it. Because the first day I went in there, I asked for a list of what requirements do you need by this time.
Okay.
And he gave me the list. And by the time he came back and said, oh, just at least have these done, I had them all done. Like, nah, I don't want you in my face. And I'm a firm believer, they can't mess with you if you keep them out of your space.
That's right.
I'm not giving you a reason to be in my space. Stay the fuck away from me. Mm-hmm. I don't want nothing to do with you. I have nothing against you. You're just doing your job. But I don't want you in my space. I don't want you coming running to my house whenever you feel like it. Even though I keep my space clean, if you do come in, it's going to be absolutely perfect because I'm not doing nothing I'm not supposed to be doing. But day to day, all I do, and you can relate to this, is live. Is live free. Man, and I deal with, I try to deal with other people like the shirt. You know what I mean? Not to plug nobody, but connected. This little thing in SAC. I don't know if you heard about them.
Never heard about them.
But I try to deal with them because they try to help parolees.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I be trying to help parolees get jobs, and because I know a lot of people. I've built some bridges since I've been home, and I know some good employers that will employ ex-convicts. So I be trying to get people jobs, and I'm getting disappointed a bunch of times, but it's whatever. I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because them is my people. I feel more comfortable, and that's crazy to say. I feel more comfortable around you than I feel, and I just met you today in person.
Yeah.
Then I feel around most of the motherfuckers I work with every day at work.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know you can relate to some of the shit that you can't express with words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That isolation, that your traps and your shoulders feeling tight all the time from the tension of being in there. You understand that. You know what I mean? And people who've been where we've been understand that shit. No matter if it's medium, minimum, high, maximum, whatever. If you've been locked, you understand. But all I do is appreciate every breath I get to take out here, man. And I don't take nothing for granted no more. So I just go to the midget basketball games. My stepson just won the championship. And we finna start the football season here right now. And we finna do that. And that and work. And my family, you know what I mean? I got my family to where I needed them at, you know what I mean? Well, me and my wife got our family where we wanted it at. And this is what my life is. This is fun to me. Fun to me is going to the river and going swimming on a sunny day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be in the hood. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't do any of that because I don't want to. Not because I feel like it's a bad thing. I just feel like I don't want to. Yeah, it's my personal choice. You know what I mean? And despite my religious beliefs, it's my personal choice. I like me. I like me like this. You know what I mean? I like me healthy. I like me in shape. You know what I mean? I like me like that. I don't like me under the influence of marijuana. I don't like me under the influence of alcohol. I don't like the guy that I was back in 1996, 97. You know what I mean? So the best thing for me is to stay like this. I've learned what my demons are. I fought with them. You know what I mean? And they still live, but I keep Nate Dogg tucked in case he needs to protect somebody,
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like myself or somebody in my family. But as far as I'm concerned, he's all but dead. You know what I mean? It's just Nathan now. You know what I mean? It's just, when I introduce myself to people, it's Nathan. My son is Nate, my junior. Mm-hmm. That's Nate. You know what I mean? But it's all about just living now, man. That's it.
I mean, with all this, with all this stuff going on now with these youngsters, man, I mean, we get a lot of young adults watching our show. What kind of advice would you give to these kids out here nowadays, or to these young teenagers, man, that are growing up, and getting mixed up in the system?
Now, I'm gonna be totally honest. Like,
Cause I know that nobody didn't tell me shit when I was young.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, when I was a teenager, man, couldn't nobody tell me a motherfucking thing. Even my uncles that were coming home from prison, because like almost all my uncles were revolving door convicts. Almost all my uncles were revolving door convicts, and I was like, nobody could tell me nothing. But the advice I do feel like I could give to some youngsters is, bro, time ain't changed shit. All the bottom line of it all is the same shit. It ain't nothing. Motherfuckers is just getting high and shit now more and popping for no reason instead of fighting like we used to do when we was young. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is about some dumb shit. It's about some shit that you believe in. And I'm not going to say dumb shit. Let me take that back. It's some shit that you believe in because I believed in it 100%. You know what I mean? I believed in my gang. I believed in my city. I believed that everything I was doing was what I was supposed to be doing because that's all I saw in my environment. So in order to succeed and get ahead in life, I felt like and I thought that I had to do these things. The best advice I can give a kid is it ain't all it's cracked up to be, man. It really ain't. You know what I mean? It's not. I did it, man. All my life. All my life. And this is way more fun because they can't take shit from me. They can't take nothing. And the best advice is I want to just say you gonna see, but I'd rather you didn't. You know what I mean? But I already know if you anything like I was, you're gonna see. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because if a kid is like I was when I was 15, 16, 17, you're gonna have to see. You ain't gonna believe me saying it because you think you smarter than me.
That's right.
And I know I was hella smart. I was advanced in school and everything. Yeah. Genius level grades, all that. Everything, straight A's all through elementary, junior high, high school. I was smart enough to do my fucking up after school. You know what I mean? But they think they're smarter. But my best advice is it ain't all it's cracked up to be, man. Believe me, man, I did it. I probably did more time than most of y'all been alive. If we talking to the young viewers, I've done more time than you've been alive. I took more shits than you've been alive. You know what I mean? On steel toilets. Watch the series. You see them. You got it on there.
Real talk.
Yeah. Real prison talk, man. It's not all it's cracked up to be. If you want to live in a fucking bathroom for some years, that's what you're doing. You live in a fucking bathroom.
Literally.
A bathroom with some bunks.
Hey, it's like being able to get this interview with Nate, you know, through the homie Skater, is a blessing.
Salute.
You know, him coming from Del Paso Heights, me coming from Highlands. Back in the day, it'd have been on site.
Yeah.
I mean, over nothing. Really, we beefing over shit that
don't even gotta know you.
Don't even gotta know what it's about. But oh, he from DPH.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you from? It's automatically cracking.
Yes.
I mean, football games, shooting outs. I mean, just a bunch of bullshit, man. So it's a really good feeling to be able to sit down with this brother, man, and have this conversation, and to bring it to you guys on Fresh Out because we got the realest shit. But Nate, man. I really thank you for your time, man. And it's, you know, I'm glad to see you're doing well for yourself, man.
Absolutely.
And you made it through hell.
Yes.
And
yes.
You know, it's not every day you get to talk to somebody who's really changed your life like you changed yours.
Absolutely.
And I commend you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I love everything you guys are doing with this series, man. That's why I took some time and thought about it. Was like, yeah, we got to do this.
Yeah. I'm really thankful, man, that you shared this with our audience because a lot of people got a false perception and, you know, hearing it from you, your time, man, it was on a totally different level than anybody else we've interviewed.
And that's another key reason why I wanted to do it because I've watched almost all your interviews and I've never seen any of those people or any people like that in the prisons I've been in. Like just the mentality is different. You know, like I haven't seen any interviews with one guy from Santana Block.
Okay, yeah.
His mentality was kind of like the level 4 mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I was looking through this morning and I was looking like trying to find somebody that I could see like be believable to me.
Yeah.
Like somebody who's done a lot of time like me, you could just sit and listen and be like, yeah, he was on a soft yard. Yeah, he was probably on a soft yard. And just like I was reading some of your, and I don't want to kill the battery, but I was reading listening to some of your answering questions on people's questions about prison. And I mean, you know, because I've commented on a couple of things to you. Yeah. But it's like, I hear some of the things people say and I'll be like, where you was at? Because we ain't do it like that.
Nah.
You know what I mean? And then I call Skate and Skate be like, oh, no, that's Fed shit, man. That's how they do it in the Feds. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I never been there.
Yeah.
You know
totally different.
Yeah.
State, man. You know,
yeah.
Dudes like, oh, man. I said, look, I'm not trying to be the hardest motherfucker out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really blessed that I didn't have to deal with what he went through, even though, you know, you handle every situation accordingly.
Yes.
But, I mean, you know, he was in the state, man, and his state is totally different program. It's no joke. It's no joke for y'all out there.
But it's all time. It's all time.
Either way, it's time.
And ain't none of it good.
Exactly. Ain't none of it good. So, yeah, man, I want to thank you and Nate, man.
Absolutely, man.
Much
Appreciate
love
it,
to
dog.
you, brother.
Yeah, man. We're going to keep doing it, man.
Okay.
No matter what.